Good morning, Swift Safety Institute instructors. This is Gail Palmer. Today we're going to do a quick video on working with the pool noodles for our bleeding skill in our first aid classes. Now, in the old curriculum, Red Cross had us working on either our own armor leg or a partner's armor leg. With the new curriculum, they really want us concentrating on the pressure that we're applying to that bleed. So that's why they want us to practice on the pool noodles. It is not acceptable to practice on a real armor leg during class anymore. So if you get your pool noodles, Red Cross wants us to cut them to an 18-inch length. It's a good length to work on. Now, what I did so my students could visualize seeing where the bleed was, I went out in my shop, got a little bit of red paint and some tape, and just did a quick little mark on there with my red paint so they can visualize where that bleed is. Another thing I did is I went online, found these cute little hands, and these go very easily into the end of the pool noodle. This way my students can visualize the hand end versus the elbow so they can work that bandage back towards the elbow. Definitely not required to do either the painting or the hand. It's just some fun things that I'm going to do for my classes. So we want to tell our students, we want to make sure that we're applying a lot of pressure. So we take one of our 4x4s, put it right over that bleed, both hands on that bleed with our shoulders over the top, just like we're doing compressions in CPR. We tell our students if it bleeds through, we grab our second 4x4, we put it over the top, apply more pressure. Now in the old curriculum, they had us applying more and more 4x4s if it kept bleeding through. The new curriculum, we are not doing that because they found the more that we add, the less pressure is being applied. So you can tell your students, if it bleeds through the second one, you take the top one off. Always leave the bottom one in place. We don't want to pull off any clotting that's going on. But pull the top one off, put a new 4x4 on top, and apply more pressure until it quits bleeding. We want to make sure our students are verbalizing that to the bleeding victim that this is going to be painful. That way they understand that. Now, once the bleeding has stopped, we want to make sure we're checking for color, warmth, and tingling. Make sure that hand doesn't have any major issues going on with it. The easiest way that I have found to do the wrapping on the pool noodles is to take that pool noodle now and point it away from me. This will just make it a little bit easier to wrap. You want to take your your roller bandage. Red Cross wants us to start it out at a 45-degree angle. So you want one of those points pointing down towards the hand. You're going to have your students go around one time. And as they come around, they should have a triangle where that point was. Fold that point up. Go around again. Catch that end in place. And the way it was explained to me by Red Cross was what that does, it helps to lock that end in place. So this is not going to come unrolled on me. Now, explain to your students that we want this snug. We are not trying to do a tourniquet at this point, but we want to have it fairly snug. We work our way towards the heart. And then when we get ready to do that knot at the end, you can unroll that bandage out to the side. And what you can do maybe is just have them pinch that bandage maybe about 8-10 inches away from the pool noodle. Lift everything up. Take that tail, let it go underneath the pool noodle. And now we have an end here, and we have a loop here that we're going to use as a tail. For my classes, I usually tell my students just knot this one time because it'll be a lot easier to take off when we're done practicing. So they're going to do their tying, and you want to make sure they're doing it right over the bleed. It does two things. Number one, it helps to hold more pressure on that bleed, and it lets EMS know where the bleed is. Now, we want to make sure that we're checking for color, warmth, and tingling again, because if the hand is turning blue, we have a problem. So this is just an easy way for you to have your students practice working with that pool noodle. I hope you all have a wonderful day.